We're still at it. So, but, well, I do need to go. They've started the conference call. So thanks for checking on us. All righty. Bye.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, wonderful. We got a new microphone, so hopefully this week will be better than what happened a couple weeks ago. This is Michelle and our Zoom call for December 5th. I'm going to mute everybody and go through a few of the Zoom questions that we received, and then I will unmute and leave a little bit of time for questions at the end. So I'm going to mute everyone and go from here. All right. So the first question that we received is, my understanding is that my cancer is contained in my lymph nodes. Do I want to work on getting them to drain, or will that spread the cancer? This is actually, in my opinion, I think this is a really interesting question and a very good question, because it gets into the idea of how cancer is removed from our body, how it can affect other organs, and how the lymph system functions itself. So our lymph system is really our body's sewage system. It is, if you were to consider your body like a city, the sewer system that helps to clean the city of all of its waste material is really what the lymph system does throughout the body. And so when it comes to cancer, often the lymph lymphomas, or cancer that is based in your lymph or actually spreads to your lymph nodes, is fairly common, simply because your lymph is needing to detoxify any waste materials or toxins that are in the body, or it plays a major role in it alongside your actual detoxification organs. So if you have congestion in your lymph, or if some kind of toxin decides to set up residence within the lymph nodes, that is where you can begin to get irregular cell replication, which could then turn into a cancerous situation into the future. So to answer this question, I firmly believe it is very important for you to continue to work on getting your lymph system to drain and to flow properly. In your cancer binders that you received, there is an entire section on lymph and lymph exercises. And then in the back of the binder, in your resource section, there are a couple of pages talking about what is the lymph system and the importance of it and how to better support it. So when you are working to get your lymph system moving, you are likely going to be sending more toxins or sending those cancer cells throughout the lymph system to be removed from the body. So could that technically spread your cancer? Well, I mean, to be completely honest, you're moving cancer cells through the lymph system. So if you had congestion built up anywhere else within your lymph, then yes, you could have a spread of cancer. But really, if you continue to make that lymph system healthy and to move toxins out of the body, and you support your other detoxification pathways, then your lymph system won't have the chance at getting clogged again, and other places of cancer replication won't begin to take place. So I think that it's very important for you to continue to do exercises and to stay hydrated and to do things that can support your lymph system. This is also something that we have seen with people who have metastasis to their lymph nodes, or metastasis to, let's just say, the liver. The liver is a common organ to have metastasis to, because it is one of the major organs that is responsible for removing wastes from the body, including cancer cells. So as it is removing some of these waste products from your body, if the liver can get congested or can become overwhelmed with its ability to detoxify, you can again begin to get a form of congestion and building of cancer cells within that organ. The lymph is the same way. So the more that we can support the flow of fluids within your lymph system, the healthier that will be, and the more that you're actually benefiting your body as a whole and reducing the likelihood of that cancer to be able to continue to grow or spin off and set up. The second question that we had come through is, I have been watching a podcast with Dr., and I'm going to butcher his name, Dr. Ruscio, who says if you cannot get inflammation under control, it could be a prebiotic issue, and you have to look at the roughage in your vegetables. Since I have no down regulation of my gut issues and I'm taking Sun Spectrum, how do I address this? Well, first of all, I think it's important for us to understand the difference between what prebiotics are and probiotics are. So what are prebiotics? Prebiotics is the actual mucousy layer that lines your stomach and your gastrointestinal tract, where probiotics live. So by just taking probiotics, which is the healthy bacteria that supports our entire biome, you are benefiting your body by introducing bacteria that might be able to grow and allow you to create a really healthy gut bacteria balance. But if you do not have a presence of prebiotics or the home for probiotics to set up residence in, then probiotics are simply flushed through your system as if they were any other excess nutrient or excess waste product. Your body cannot utilize probiotics until you have an established prebiotic system. If you have chronic inflammation or chronic illness, or like the majority of people that are on this Zoom call are dealing currently with cancer, then you more than likely have gut issues and damage to your prebiotic layer. So it is important to support getting prebiotics into your system and developing that gut flora. And the way that you do that is in your cancer binder. There is that page on gut check stages, and about 2/3 of the way down is a section that talks about foods that can improve your gut health and can improve your prebiotic disposition, which includes raw dandelion greens, raw garlic, raw onions, leeks, or other foods within the onion family, raw asparagus, green bananas. If you've ever opened up a banana when it isn't ripe yet and it's kind of gummy, that gumminess of the banana helps to create that sludgy layer, that prebiotic lining. And then chicory. Chicory was often used as a coffee substitute, and it is now available often in tea format. You can buy it online. It still tastes a little bit like coffee. It can actually be really beneficial for people who are wanting to switch away from drinking coffee, but they tend to like the flavor, and they can switch over to chicory, and chicory can provide you with that coffee flavor while also supporting your prebiotic layer. So that is hugely important. If you are somebody who is doing a lot of those things, including Sun Spectrum, which we have many of our patients on, and you are still experiencing bloating or discomfort, that could be a number of issues that are going on. First, you could be dealing with killing off some of the bad bacteria that's built up in your gut. And I can tell you this from having been on a kind of gut restoration regimen for the last 10 years since I originally started with Dr. Connors as a patient. Taking care of your gut biome, adding in prebiotics and probiotics, and helping to improve that balance is going to be a never-ending endeavor. It's a never-ending endeavor for me. It should be a never-ending endeavor for all of our patients, because you are constantly exposed to new toxins and new biotoxins that can, or living organisms that can damage that gut layer. So you really want to be pursuing that to the best of your ability. So first off, it certainly could be an issue of killing off some of that bad bacteria or some of those toxins that are already hindering your gut system, and it may take a while for you to get that into a balanced area. The second option is that it could be a food sensitivity that's creating inflammation in the gut. If you're getting to a point where you have been doing some of these gut restoration therapies for a while and you're still feeling like it could be more of a food sensitivity issue or something else in your gut is creating dysbiosis, it might be a good time to set up a consultation with either Dr. Connors or myself to talk through some of those symptoms and then to run one of the food sensitivity labs that we run. We have a fantastic lab that we run. It's a Cyrex lab, and it will test for food sensitivities down to the specific peptides that are in those foods. It looks for antibodies to those specific peptides in your blood. It is a very detailed lab and can provide a lot of feedback for you of whether or not the foods that you're eating are contributing to your body's health or are contributing to your body's illness. So that is something that I would recommend. The third question that came in is, can I use a glucose meter to monitor reactions to foods? So that was somewhat in conjunction with the second question. This particular doctor that she had been watching podcasts on had mentioned about getting a glucometer to monitor food reactions. And I am not quite sure. I don't know anything about that doctor. I haven't followed him, so I can't speak specifically to what his methodology is behind that. But from what we use in our office, glucometers are primarily for seeing whether or not you're dealing with a blood glucose issue because your blood glucose is staying spiked for a long period of time. That could be a huge problem for cancer patients whose cancer is driven by pyruvate or by glucose. And then it is also able to show you if there's one specific food that is raising your glucose levels more than others. You can do specific fasts where you do a gut and body reset, and then you'll eat one particular food. Let's say you're worried that bananas are spiking your glucose levels too much because you're having reactions to them. Then you could do something where you do a body reset and then you introduce a food. And after introducing that one food, you go and you test your blood glucose levels and you see how much it spikes it. But beyond that, a glucometer isn't going to show you whether or not you are having reactions to foods as far as a histamine reaction or you're building antibodies to them. It's more focused on your glucose levels. So, and if I misunderstood that question, feel free to pop a reply underneath the post that I'll do when I post this recording on the Facebook page. And I would be really interested to interface with you and see if there was some other vein of thought that you were headed down. But for the time being, it's most important to just use a glucometer for testing your glucose levels. Getting a glucometer would be great for any cancer patient who's concerned about their blood glucose spiking and whether or not they're maintaining glucose levels in a functional range so that they are reducing their cancer's potential use of glucose as fuel. And we can always talk about what some of those functional ranges mean as well if anybody is interested, but that is the answer to that question. So it was a pretty simple Zoom call.